Hey, good morning, friends. Mark Holmes here with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo, and as always, thank you guys for watching, commenting, and subscribing to the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, man, you know this doesn't work. Let's get open for business on this Saturday morning where we sit just 187 days, 10 hours, 32 minutes, and 23 seconds away from kickoff of the 2019 season. And you got to be excited because, of course, with the Dallas Cowboys, there's all kinds of news. This past week, when we sat here last weekend, things were quiet, and I said it was the quiet before the storm. And we had Randy Gregory suspended, David Irving suspended. We had Jason Witten come out of retirement. We got the Dallas Cowboys meeting with Earl Thomas's people. We've got all kinds of stuff. Oh, we got the combine. And today, quarterbacks and wide receivers and tight ends are working out starting at 10 o'clock. So there is plenty, and I mean plenty, to talk about. And for once in a very, very long time, it appears that the Dallas Cowboys are going to be players in free agency. Wow. Now, we all know the Cowboys and Earl Thomas both want to get together. We're hearing, of course, that Earl Thomas is looking for $15 million. We all want the maximum we can get, but I think that's a little bit too high. He wanted 13.5 in a long-term deal from Seattle, which he didn't get. So I tell you what, let's go to Skip and Shannon and get their thoughts, and then I'll give you my closing thoughts behind it.
Should equal 2. The Cowboys need a safety. Earl Thomas is going to probably need a new team. But Skip, Earl Thomas has made it abundantly clear. He wants to be compensated. He wants to be the highest paid safety in all of football, which is going to make it very difficult considering Dallas needs to get DeMarcus Lawrence, Zeke Elliott, Dak Prescott, Kamar Cooper. It's hard for me to envision a scenario where they're able to, because I look at Earl Thomas, he'd be a great addition. But I look at him as a luxury, not a necessity. The necessity is to re-sign your guys first. It's hard for me to believe, and he's made it abundantly clear he's not giving a hometown discount. The reason why he fell out with Seattle is that he wanted long-term financial security. And he sees Eric Berry, who's the highest paid safety at $13 million, has basically played 2 to 3 games over the last 2 years.
True.
He's like, man, I'm not fit to play for no $5 million a year. Eric Reed just got average what is like 7.3 a year. And he sees Harrison Smith, he sees Malcolm Jenkins and Tony Jefferson. He sees all these guys make $8, $9, $10 million. Earl Thomas wants to get paid. And I get it. Like, be happy, Earl. You're going to go to the Earl's like, man, I ain't trying to be no happy. I've won a Super Bowl. I played in another. I've been an All-Pro. I've been a Pro Bowl player.
Yeah.
Skip, I just don't see how he fits, given his mindset of wanting to be the highest paid safety in all of football, given the Cowboys' needs that they already have on their own team that they need to fulfill. I just don't see. I just don't see it. And this notion. Everybody want to play for the Cowboys. I do, if they pay it just like everybody else.
It's like it lately.
You're speaking for yourself, not for everybody
They're all
else.
speaking for Earl Thomas.
Yep.
Earl Thomas ain't giving you the discount.
So we just heard a whole lot of wishful thinking from Shannon Sharp because he dreads the prospect of Earl Thomas starting at safety for my Dallas Cowboys next year, just as you dreaded the prospect of him being a Cowboy over the second half of this past season. Am I right about that?
Yeah, it would change my outlook on the Cowboys.
Let's see, Jeff Heath, Earl Thomas, Xavier Woods, Earl Thomas, I think.
Jason Garrett, Bill Belichick, Jason Garrett. He's still your coach.
Yeah. I believe this is going to happen. I'm going to speak it into existence. I believed it was going to happen last year. My experience is when there are two people who want to make a deal, it usually gets made. It may take a while, but it's going to get made. And I believe that Earl Thomas's heart is in Dallas, Texas, because he's a little different, and then he came from the Beaumont, Port Arthur area of Texas. It's over on the coast all the way to the other side. You know, it's Steven Jackson, it's Jimmy Johnson, it's Janis Joplin. Nobody knows who Janis Joplin is except me, but that's okay. Do you?
Yeah.
He's a legend. Legend.
Yeah.
The point is, he grew up wanting to be in Texas, a Dallas Cowboy. He went to the University of Texas wanting to be a Dallas Cowboy. He has made $56 million in his career. It's not chump change.
No.
He was the 14th overall pick, and he got a pretty good deal. He got 11.2 out of that.
Mm-hmm.
He's made pretty decent money. He hasn't made Eric Berry money, but I believe that he and Jerry can figure this out
How?
because Jerry wants him and he wants Jerry.
How does he figure it out, Skip, when he
They
wanted to
just do. Maybe it's shorter term. Maybe it's just a 2-year deal.
No, he would know. Skip, he wanted
Maybe.
long-term security from Seattle.
Okay, well maybe just to say I played for the Cowboys. Maybe you just
No.
Okay, you're speaking for him.
No, I am.
I think he's going to speak for himself to Jerry Jones.
Well, you know what? A lot of times I try to speak for the athletes because I try to get into their
I got
mindset and
it.
tell you how they think, Skip Bayless. Because at the end of the day, I don't know if Earl Thomas is married or not. But mortgage companies don't care what you pay for. Can you pay these bills? Schools, private schools,
He's made $56 million in his career. Is that did Shannon Sharp make $56 million?
Not even close.
Nope.
Guess what?
Nope.
Jeff Bezos. Is he working less? He worth $138 billion.
Working a lot.
Is he working less? Look at all these guys that make. When was the last time you heard somebody say, "Man, Jen, I got too much money. I wish you take some of this money off my hands. I don't know what to do." Child, people have too many pairs of shoes. They have clothing. They might have cars. Ain't nobody say, "Man, I got too much money. Man, I'm tired of all this money. I don't know what I'm gonna do with it." They want more of it, Skip Bayless. And get last.
Okay, enough of that. I can only take but so much. Oh, skip. All right, so as we look at this, now let's be honest. Okay, I can't blame a player for wanting to get paid, okay? Now, I don't know where the $15 million came from, but that's what he's supposedly looking for. Now, I'm sitting here looking at safety competition from over the cap. Eric Berry, his deal, $78 million, pays him an average of $13 million a year. That's the top of the list. His buddy in Seattle, Cam Chancellor, has a contract value of $36 million for $12 million a year. Rashad Jones, $48 million, 4-year deal, $12 million a year. Harrelson Smith, $51 million contract, $10 million a year. And then, of course, Earl Thomas's deal was $40 million, $10 million a year. So I'm trying to see where we get from 13 to 15 on a guy that's been injured 2 years and 30 years of age. That's, you look at Eric Reed. Eric Reed is a 3-year deal, $22 million, 7.3 a year. I got no problem with anybody getting paid. You think about Des Bryant turned down a 3-year deal with Baltimore last year, which was, I believe, $22 million. We didn't have details. We don't know. It might have been all incentive laden. I don't know. Des balked at that and nah, man. I want more than that. He ended up settling, coming into New Orleans mid-season for $500,000. Now, I'm sure he's going to find some people that are going to want to pay him more than what the Dallas Cowboys can afford to pay him because they're looking for that name and everything else. But you have to look at it, too, sometimes more than money. Sometimes you can have jobs that you can make a whole lot of money, but it doesn't necessarily make you happy and content. And this whole thing of Shannon Sharp basically saying, he got to pay his mortgage. Well, I tell you what, if he can't pay his mortgage now, the $56 million he's already made, it don't matter how much money he's making. He won't be able to pay it for long. But I believe that this is all negotiations to get the price high as possible. He wants to be here. The Cowboys want him to be here. The Cowboys are going to work the deal out. I can guarantee that one. Well, hold, let me stop there. I believe, don't quote me on a guarantee. I believe they will get a deal worked out between the two of them. It makes the most sense for both sides. And that's why I believe the Cowboys right now, They're talking to Dak's people. They're talking to Amari's people. They're talking to Byron Jones, DeMarcus Lawrence, because there's ways that you can do anything you want. They could go all out and they could sign 2 or 3 top free agents if they want. It's basically mortgaging the future where you're going to end up being in cap hell. But they can make deals. They can make a deal for Dak Prescott and get him a $150 million deal and make the cap hit only about 12 or 13 for this year. You could go ahead and take Amari Cooper's deal right now that we're paying $14 million, and you can easily turn it into a $75 million deal for him and make this year's hit only about $7-8 million. You can take Zach Martin's deal and grab $10 million just like that off of it. So the question is are you sure that that guy is going to be enough to get you over the hump? Because that ultimately is the cost and what it's going to take. Because if I said to you right now, we'll take Earl Thomas for $7 million a year, but we won't win a Super Bowl, will you take him? If I said we take Earl Thomas and we pay him $13 million a year, but we win the Super Bowl, would you take him? And that ultimately is the question that you have to ask. Is he enough to help give you the best shot at winning the Super Bowl? Because if that is the case, then the dollars and cents, there's not a big difference between 7 and 13. I don't have the answer for that, but that's how you have to make these decisions. Every single player you look at before you pay them, you have to say, does this guy warrant the amount of money that he's getting paid to help me win the Super Bowl? Because at the end, that's all that matters. That's all that matters in the end. So we'll see how this goes. Time's running short because today is already the 2nd, which means we've got literally 9 days before legal tampering starts. And that is a week from Monday. That's when teams can actually, technically, supposedly, start talking and negotiating with players. So that way on the 13th, when the league year starts at 4 o'clock, we can start seeing the free agent frenzy. And they can start announcing this player's going here, and make more money because all of us are watching NFL Network. We'll see what happens, guys. But I've got a lot of work to do, and in fact, I'm going to run out, get the stains, so that way I can watch these quarterbacks and stuff work out and wide receivers and things. I'm just glad that we don't have to be in the market for one. All right, I'll see you guys soon.